And Bellator is back. Welcome into a very special MMA Bellator 255 episode of The Early Edge. I told you we were going to expand under the umbrella, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're the only show that's going to break down all of the organizations in MMA. But we're very excited at CBS because Bellator is part of the family, going to be on Showtime Friday night, live from Mohegan Sun. So we're here just for you. Our guy from SportsLine, Ian Parker. You can follow him on social media, Ian Parker MMA. And I got to tell you, when we started this relationship and you came to SportsLine, one of the things that intrigued me about you is that you know all of the organizations. So for people at home, before we get to the picks, that just say, oh, that's just UFC. What is the difference between UFC and Bellator in your mind?
In my mind, it really comes down to the infrastructure of how Bellator is run, and they do most of their stuff through Grand Prix and tournaments, which the UFC does not do and will never do. So right now, what we're looking at, for example, the main event is going to be the semifinals of one of the major tournaments that they're doing. And Bellator does a really good job of trying to take all their roster, as much depth as they do have, with some big names that they've been able to pull from the UFC. You know, they've been doing a really good job of being able to sign free agents that normally they wouldn't have because they got prizes at the end. And what's even more different about them is that they actually have whoever the champion is, and they are automatically entered into the tournament. They are not waiting for the winner. So as you'll see in the main event, Patricio Pitbull Freire is defending his belt every round of the tournament. And in order to retain it, he's got to run the table. So that makes it so intriguing in this whole situation.
It's so much cooler because you get to see the champion 3 times in an 8-man tournament as opposed to just one time at the end, which is super, super cool. All right, Let's jump right in right now because we got several plays. We also have a big parlay for you, and we're also going to tell you what a bigger parlay at the end of the show would actually bring back to you. If you followed us last week, you know our man Ian Parker hit a big 3-way parlay at UFC 260. So let's jump in right now. Welterweight, Jason Jackson, Neiman Gracie. What do you like in this one?
So Jason Jackson originally was actually plus 135 at the start of once this fight was announced. You got a guy who just came out and absolutely dominated Benson Henderson. He is a product over at Henry Hooft. He trains with Kamaru Usman. Very, very underrated fighter. Been around for a little while, and he's really starting to hit his stride. This is a guy that is looking to get a nice win over Neiman Gracie and fight for the title. Gracie is not the most active fighter. He had a really bad loss, came back and got a heel hook win over a retiring John Fitch. And this is a fight that if Gracie cannot get the fight to the ground quick and submit him, he's not going to win. Jackson does not get finished. Jackson will be the stronger, faster fighter, very intelligent, and way more well-rounded. I love Jason Jackson in this spot.
Very good. All right, next fight, Alejandro Lara, minus 180. Kana Watanabe coming back at plus 155. This is a women's flyweight matchup. What do you like?
So styles make fights. Kana Watanabe is a black belt judoka, and she is 9-0-1. Her last fight, a knockout, which you usually don't see in this division. However, most of her wins have come by submission as well. She's fighting someone, Alejandro Lara, that is literally fighting to get a title shot. Lara is a young prospect, highly touted, excellent striker, fast, keeps the distance, also a lot of submissions. I think she's just going to be too athletic for Kana, and I do really like Lara in this spot.
All right, very good. Now let's go to our main event. You mentioned how the champion has to fight throughout the tournament as opposed to just waiting for the winner at the very end. So in the main event, the champion comes in at minus 260, Patricio Freire, and Emmanuel Sanchez comes back at plus 210. This is a semifinal matchup in that featherweight World Grand Prix. What do you like?
What's interesting here is the last loss on Emmanuel Sanchez's record came from Patricio Freire. And, since then, he's bounced back. He's got some really good wins. Sanchez is a very tough fighter. He continues to improve his game. His ground skills are very good. His striking, his cardio. The dude can take a lot of shots. However, Patricio is arguably the number one 145-pound fighter on the planet, not just in this organization, on the planet. People forget about his jiu-jitsu skills because he's been knocking everybody out for the last X amount of years. But in the meantime, if you go to the ground, he will submit you, and he'll do it quickly, and he'll do it harshly. He likes to fight. He likes to strike. He's one of the guys that you look at him because he looks smaller in frame with power, but he's knocking guys out with jabs and with counter hooks. Mm-hmm. Patricio is just the real deal, well-rounded. It's not a knock on Sanchez. I had Patricio possibly being minus 295 here, so I find tremendous value in him at 2-1 odds at minus 260.
Let me ask you real quick, because we always say we want to educate and we want to entertain. When there's higher odds, and let's say for the sake of this show that higher odds means over minus 225. Are you still comfortable? You said tremendous value. Lay in the 260.
So sometimes, most of the time I would say no, to be fair. A lot of those times I would say you get more value in the parlay. So you're not, you're reducing your risk a little bit here. However, this is just somebody that should be favored more. And it's not because of Sanchez's skills. It's just because if you're talking about the number one guy in the world, not just in the organization, and he's not only the 145-pound champ in Bellator, he's also the 155-pound champ. So you got the double champ here on a streak. He just knocked out Pedro Cavallo in his last fight. He's a part of a really good team. I just don't see him losing this in any way, shape, or form. Cardio for days. He's fought higher level competition. Again, not a knock on Sanchez, but go look at what Patricio just did to Michael Chandler in the UFC, and look what Chandler's about to do. He's fighting for the belt at 155 and got knocked out by the 45 champion Patricio Pitbull Freire. So once in a blue moon, we find a situation like this where it's okay to lay the juice. This is that blue moon. Pitbull at minus 260. I'm okay laying it.
I think it's so funny when you hear the UFC guys go, at another organization, as if they can't say Bellator on the air. It's so silly. In 2021, we all know the organizations. We all know there's different networks. Let's just be honest and say UFC and say Bellator, please. Now, here at the Early Edge, Ian, we love us some parlays. Baby, give me a parlay that people can sink their teeth into.
Yeah, absolutely. So waiting for it to pop up on the screen right here so I remember exactly what I did, but it's okay. We start off.
Look, how about the champ? You got the champ?
No, I'm kidding. I got it. It's
okay. My bad.
I got it by memory at this point, right? So I'll start off with Tyrell Fortune versus Jack May. This is a late notice fight. Tyrell Fortune was supposed to fight Matt Mitrione. Tyrell Fortune, mainly a wrestler, has had outstanding striking. He ran into a wall in Timothy Johnson. Since then, fought Jack May to a no contest, came back and won a very, very dominant decision. Jack May is a seasoned journeyman. I just don't see, unless he puts Fortune on his back and gets a submission win, I don't see it happening. Fortune's a better athlete. So because he's minus 600, to your point before, while educating people, we don't really want to lay those odds straight up. That's a little too crazy, especially at heavyweight, things can happen. So we're going to rope him into the parlay. All right, we're going to have Nurmagomedov in this situation, who we hear this name all the time. There must be a million of them at this point. He is one of the best prospects out there. He's fighting a guy in Mike Hamill, who is a striker, 7-4, lost a split decision recently. Nurmagomedov should have his way with him, but also I believe he's like a minus 400 situation here. But we cannot let that go. We can't let him get away without betting on him, because he's going to win this fight. He's going to win everywhere in any which way possible. We're going to throw him in there. Jason Jackson versus Neiman Gracie. Now, I know we have Jason Jackson as one of our plays. Both guys, Jason Jackson's last 4 wins by decision, okay? He is not a finisher. He's a grinder. He opposes his will. He just doesn't get it done for whatever reason. He's comfortable controlling the fight. Neiman Gracie does not get knockouts. He goes for submissions. And against a guy, and outside of that last fight, his last 3 wins also by decision. So, Jason Jackson, Neiman Gracie over 1.5. I absolutely love that. And then to end the parlay, we got our champ, Patricio Freire, which again, minus 260. I like him straight up. I like him in the parlay. Now, for educational purposes, I want to throw out there something I love doing, because it makes the main event that much more fun and less stressful and guarantees you a profit. If we do get to our final leg of our parlay, and I'll let you do the honor of explaining what a sprinkle means. Sprinkle a little bit of what you wagered on the parlay on the underdog in Sanchez, because that means either you're going to hedge it. It's the hedge. It's the Parker hedge. I love it, right? So there you go. So, and especially because when we get to the last leg of a parlay, it's my absolute favorite when you get the sprinkle on an underdog, because that means you get to risk less than what you wagered. Therefore, you either break even or you win. So sit back, enjoy, collect your money, or no harm, no foul. We enjoyed an awesome night of fights, but I still think Freire gets it done.
When I say sprinkle, and I say it all the time, and thank you for allowing me to explain that. It's just a little bit, not your normal bet size, but just a little bit for fun on something that is kind of a longer play. All right, we're up against it. Grab your paper, grab your pencil. Jeweler, thank you very much. Here is our recap. Jason Jackson over Gracie, minus 120. Then Lara, minus 180 over Watanabe. Then in the main event, the champ, Patricio Freire, minus 260. Lay the 260 We're okay with that. And then in our four-way parlay coming back at plus 176, you saw the four ways: Frieri, Fortune, Nurmagomedov, and the Jackson Gracie over 1.5 rounds. As always, follow me, follow Ian on social media. We'll be tweeting live throughout the event. So anything that changes or any additional plays, you can get them with us at Twitter. You've got your marching orders. We dominate this space. Let's take every single ticket straight to the pay window for Ian Parker and the Duck Army. The jeweler, I am the coach. Bellator 255, live on Showtime, Friday night, Mohegan Sun. We got you ready right here on the Early Edge. Good luck.